Jared, and thank you for checking out the first video on my YouTube channel, TrueBosco. And today I'm going to be showing you how to make a simple intro in Cinema 4D. So this is going to be geared towards more like just starting or people who know Cinema 4D but they don't really have any ideas for an intro, and they kind of just want a simple one for their videos to make it look a little more professional. Okay, so when you make a new window, this is what you get, and let's get all of our settings out of the way right now. So down here, this frame rate, you're going to want to change this to what you want, and for the most part your video is going to be about 30 frames per second, 29.97, round up a little bit. So that's what you can use to see how long. So if you want a let's just say 5-second intro, 150 frames. So that's what we'll do, and just drag this out. So now your timeline is up to 150 when you play. Okay, the next thing, you can notice these gray things on the side. You might not be able to see it on the YouTube video, but you can definitely see it on your screen. So let's click up here, the one that's next to the blue block, and this is your render settings. So what we're going to do is leave your general the same. Output, click on this. This is your presets. So go to Film and Video, HDV/HDTV 720 29.97. That's the settings I use. 1080 doesn't really matter. It's not that much better, in my opinion, for like a YouTube video. Current frame, go to all frames. This is just better for later so you don't forget. Format, save it as a QuickTime movie. And name your file. I'll name it tutorial intro basic, I guess. Click on here, save that wherever you want. I'll save it just to my desktop, save time. Multipass and anti-aliasing or aliasing, there you go. And put this to best, and filter, put it to animation. Okay, so that should be good for all your render settings, and you see that the gray boxes have gone around. So now your whole window is the viewer screen, what you're going to see. Okay, so click on this light, hold down, and go to floor. Get a floor in there. Zoom out a little bit. Go to MoGraph and go down to text object. And now you have your text, and over here you can change what it says. So I'm going to use my channel name. Then I'm going to make the def about, let's try 95. Looks good. I'm going to change the font. Obviously this is personal preference. I'm going to use Arial Black because it's nice and thick font. Caps, I'm going to leave caps alone, but you can experiment with them. They do help make it look a little better. But there you go. So there's your 3D text right there. But it's looking plain, so before we do anything, let's get some material. So double click in your material, double click to change the parameters, material editor, and right here let's make a gradient. Double click. We'll make it, let's do green. So I'm gonna do like a kind of light green right there. And I'm going to do the same, try to get the same, but make it a little darker. That should be good. And you kind of see that contrast there. So that's good. Click on reflection and go down to Fresnel in the texture. And then just drag it and drop it on your text. And when you render that out, it looks pretty nice. Okay. So now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a faceplate to this, and you'll see what that means in a second. So make a new material, color, change it to black, reflection, put it on about 10%, and drag this onto your text again, and you'll see that it makes it all black. So with this highlighted, you should see the texture tag texture of the one you put. And in selection, just capital C1 and hit enter. And you'll see that it's on the faceplate now. So now when you hit the render, it's black with the green. right there. So now it's looking kind of dull, like darker, so we're going to add a light. Okay. So I'm going to add a light behind it. Gonna add a light in front. Maybe even above the T. And then just one more for like the side. Okay, that should be good. Render that out. And yeah, it's definitely looking a lot better. Actually, I'm gonna put this over the text like that. I'm gonna show you guys. This isn't really that basic. Like the intro is gonna be basic, like the keyframing, but this part, if you don't really understand, you're gonna have to follow along. So put that like there, above it, and you see that your text looks really nice, but the floor is just hurting your eyes. Well, it hurts mine. So what we're gonna do now is just on this light, click on your above light, and go to the scene parameter. And you see how it's on exclude. Just drag your floor in. It's pretty simple. But now that's not gonna affect the whole scene. So the scene only has that light, but your text stays the same. And then what you can do is on your both lights, holding shift, you can even change the intensity down to like 80. Okay, again, that's personal preference, whatever you feel. Now let's get one more material, and we're going to make this for the floor. And I'm not really sure what color I'm going to want to go with the floor. But, yeah, I'm not too sure. Maybe I'll make like, kind of like a sea green kind of deal. Reflection, if you're going to put any lower than 5, I would go with, unless you're doing something else. But you don't want a ton of reflection. See how that looks? Okay, yeah, that's good. So there you go. You have that, and now it's time to keyframe. So what we're gonna need is a camera. So make a camera, and click on this little box. And the little box is basically just making you the camera. So you are the camera right now, okay? And zoom out. Now you might think that because of all these grids, you shouldn't be out this far. That is actually false. This floor will extend to meet the end, but only where the lights are. You see how it kind of gets black around. So this is going to be one approach at the intro, is to start high, kind of looking down on your text. This there's a lot of ways to actually keyframe it. Might get a little closer, looking down at the text like that, so you can kind of see from above it. So now what we're gonna do, make sure you have your camera selected, hit a keyframe here, and now let's say we want it to take a little bit more than a second, but not 2 seconds yet. So let's bring it to 50 keyframes and move it to where you want the text. Your camera. So what you want the viewer to see now. So I'm gonna move it like here, looking down. See how that looks? Okay, that's good. And then I'm gonna make this take to 100. So now it's gonna be kind of like even. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look up so you can't really see the text, and then just bring it down. So what this is gonna do, make sure you render it, see if you like that's where you want to stop. This is seeming like a pretty dark intro. You might want to put the intensity back up. Okay, and then let's kind of go towards the true. always change the rotation just a little bit, and the reason for that you'll see when I kind of preview it is because it makes the animation look a little more real instead of just linear. See how turning, and then let's take 145 to 145 frames. I almost said seconds. And we're just gonna move to the other side of our intro or material, and we're just gonna kind of reverse it. Now we're looking at it like this. So again, preview, TrueBosco, and then at the very end, I guess, seeing as I didn't really give myself enough time for this part to zoom in, there's two things you could do now. You could add more frames, but if you're set on 5-second intro, this is what I want. What you're gonna do is go to all of your lights, hold shift, click all of your lights, and on 45 keyframe them as that color. Now if you have different keyframed colors, notice you have to right click animation, add keyframe. It will not work if you hit here. That is positioning basically. But if let's say one light was a different color, you'd have to keyframe that separately on the same time. But seeing as they're all white, because simple intro, we can do it all at once. Now click on your color and change it to black, and you see that there's nothing there. And notice how this is a yellow circle, so that's telling you, hey, you need to add a keyframe or else it will not work. So basically what we did here is, without using a editor, we added our own fade out kind of deal. Okay, you can do that for fade in too. Might even bring that out a little bit more. Yeah. Okay, so when you're in, you can see how it's starting to get a little darker. Yeah, I guess I'll start that at 135, because you kind of want like a nice smooth transition. And right here, you will see when you keyframe that out, it is all black. Okay guys, so that is the end of my tutorial for how to make a simple intro. I hope it helped you. I hope you'll comment, rate, subscribe. There's different videos coming out. And really, to wrap this up, all you'd have to do is click the middle one. I'm not going to do it because it'll start rendering my movie, which I don't want. But for something like this, it really should not take a lot, especially if you have a decent computer. I would say, I really don't know what I would say, probably less than 20 minutes. For something like this. Okay guys, so please comment, rate, subscribe for more advanced tutorials, gaming commentaries, and like graphic showcasing and stuff like that. Okay, thanks guys, see ya.